Hi, I'm Davia Hines.
And I'm Jody Mary Hastings.
Today, we're going around the University of the West Indies Mona, Western Jamaica campus to find out what members of the Happier campus know and think about learning disorders.
This video is in preparation for Learning Disorders, the Struggle is Real Symposium on March 4th.
Let's go! Do you think that all children with learning disorders belong in special schools?
Special schools. I think at some point they need some special care, but I do think that they should have some sort of interaction with other persons who are, I guess, considered normal, not to call them normal, so that they can be assimilated, so they know how to react to persons who are not like them. So I think there should be some sort of special care at one point and then some sort of assimilation afterwards.
I do believe that all children with a learning disorder should be in a special education program because they learn differently from other students. So they would need, obviously, a trained person, more attention, and persons would need to exercise more patience with them as students. But at the same time, it has been said that when persons with similar disabilities are in the same environment, they tend to feed off each other. So probably that would be a hindrance. But in terms of the patience needed to deal with them, I do think that they should have some sort of special program for them.
How would you feel if your child or a child that you knew was in a class with someone that had a learning disorder?
How would I feel? I wouldn't feel anyway. I would speak to my child about how best to interact with them, and I would hope that my child would be as respectful to them as he would be to anybody else.
Well, personally, I would feel some type of way because being in that environment, that would slow down my child, and my child would not be up to speed. So I would feel some type of way about it. I'm not saying that there is anything wrongfully, but for me, I wouldn't want to have my child in that environment with someone with a learning disability. Maybe they need to put that child with the special needs, have them in another class, but I wouldn't want my child there.
I wouldn't feel anyway. As a parent, I believe that we should all team together and try to do something that can help that child enhance their ability to learn. For example, if we could find out their learning styles or what works with them, then we could help in that way, being parents as well. Because if we had a child that had a learning disorder, we want somebody who is out there to look out for my child.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't feel a bad way about it. I'd be pretty neutral about it.
Pretty neutral.
And then it depends on what happens in that classroom, and it depends on if my child gets affected negatively.
How do you imagine that your child might be negatively affected?
Okay, so for example, let's say the teacher feels as if that child with learning disorder needs more attention and starts to pay more attention to that student, and then the rest of the students in the class are just there like not learning because that teacher's attention is focused on that one student with the learning disorder.
What steps would you take if you noticed that your child had a learning disorder or was having issues with learning?
Well, I would take them out of school if they're in the public school system, so that they can get the kind of care and attention and focus that they would need based on the type of learning disorder to overcome that actual disorder.
Okay, so where exactly would you put them if you took them out of the public schools? Where exactly?
Homeschool.
Homeschool?
Homeschooling.
Okay, so what other steps would you take?
I guess I have to first start by finding out what is the learning disorder. And I guess even in the Caribbean context, that's a discussion we rarely even have, because if a child isn't learning, the first thing we assume is that them slow or them dunce or whatever. So it's the first actually try to find out from the authorities or from the people who actually have the knowledge what is the learning disorder, and then we move towards that. But ultimately, I really try to make sure that in order for them to overcome that disorder, it has to be something that I have to be involved in.
So would you consider consulting a psychologist for this particular issue?
Of course, that without a doubt. I don't have the knowledge, So definitely those who have the knowledge are going to have to inform me on that.
If we do it and it don't come out right, just skip it.
Okay, so based on what we heard today, not a lot of people know much about learning disorders. So I'm guessing turnout to our symposium is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it should be. So it's gonna be. Hold on. We're practicing, right? You're supposed to finish. Okay, so the symposium, it's called Learning Disorders. The struggle is real because the struggle is real. It's gonna be on the Western Jamaica campus on March 4th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in room E202. And we're gonna have lots of different persons come and present. We're gonna have our very own Georgia Rose. We're gonna have representatives from the Ministry of Education and so forth. So make sure you come.
See you there.
Bye.